Hello and welcome to this week's vlog. I've recorded a clip that you'll see in just a minute, but I didn't think I quite explained no dig good enough, especially to anyone approaching the subject for the first time. So the following clips are an attempt to address this. The main reason I feel I do no dig is that it's much more in tune with nature. It imitates nature by any matter laid on top of the soil decays into it. It's physically less stressful on your back. The process is spread across the year in wet conditions as well as dry, and mulching with compost lessens weeding. Doesn't get rid of it though. My personal view is that there's a couple myths around no dig that aren't quite true. Weeds in particular, they still will be around, and the time saving by not digging is not necessarily correct if you're a composter like me, because the time you save by not digging, you're actually making compost. Of course, if you're relying on manure, then that does save you time, so not quite correct. However, the physical effort of making enough compost or transporting in manure is physically good for you, and also it can happen in the autumn time, so the workload could spread much more across the year, and working from the paths, I can put the compost on whenever I want. Not relying on fertilizer and manure makes it far cheaper, and I know what's going into my food. That is very good afternoon, lovely people. I bid you welcome from soggy Plymouth. A little bit cold today. It's a change in the weather. We've got one more evening of rain and then supposedly a little bit drier spell, which is sorely needed. Today I want to introduce to you the concept of no dig, no tread. But Mike, we've heard it all before. We've heard all this no dig nonsense. Well, yes and no. My particular variation is that it stems actually from my double digging days, but I'll go into that in a minute. So what the idea is that these beds will never be stepped on. They retain their fluffiness, bad word. They don't compact, so it's really easy to get crops planted. I can dig down to here any time of the year, and the soil will be in perfect condition for planting. Now then, some crops are supposedly needed firm soil. Brassicas are one, onions are another. I never fail to grow reasonable crops. I say that, I had a crop of red cabbage this year that really didn't grow very well, but that's an exception. These here are cabbages grown on this system. Besides that, look, most of the crop this is a slightly smaller one, but most of this crop have been this size or bigger, like that one over there. The smaller ones are more welcome because I actually use them better that way, but they grow what they grow. So this crop has been in ground that is probably quite loose, no problem, so that's obviously rubbish. My kale on the other plot, my broccoli all grown really well in this system. My onions that were on this side over here in the summer, fantastic crop. Now this particular plot I've owned since 2008, and it's been regularly double dug every year up until about 5 years ago when I transitioned to no dig. I'll briefly try and explain what double dig is. Double dig is removing one spade's worth of soil and putting it aside, and then the soil that's immediately beneath that, the subsoil, is forked over. So basically it removes the compaction and allows plants to to root down very, very deep. So there's less competition for the root system to spread outwards. So we can actually plant, I mean this what I'm showing you in the camera, on the camera here, it doesn't really explain it good enough, but basically you plant up closer. So instead of a 18-inch gap between cabbage plants, you reduce it down to 12-inch, and you stagger the planting. I think if I show you a little diagram, this should actually give you a better idea. So on the left hand side is your traditional spacings. On the right hand side is trying to show you how the rows are closer together, the plants are closer together, but because the roots go down, they've got more access to the nutrients they need. In this picture I'm showing you this cabbage stems that I've left in the plot. They will rot in place. The rotting roots will form passageways down into the soil, so they reduce compaction in that manner. New plantings get treated exactly the same as normal dig, almost the same, and covered up with holy netting, but it stops the pigeons, so it's fine. So as I said, the younger plantings going exactly the same as normal into good quality soil with compost on top. It's just that the soil isn't compacted, so there is a chance for the plants to root down deeper and get their roots well down. I'm on the third plot now, my borrowed plot, and I just wanted to show you how things look on a bed that hasn't been double dug. This is my borrowed plot, so all it has had is the regular no dig treatment of cardboard and compost, and just not compacted at all. So I've only ever worked from the sides, and the benefits are that the soil is dead easy to use. Whether it be planting onions or sowing beans, it's easy. The benefits are very similar to a raised bed. I know this isn't raised bed, but if you used a raised bed, you don't stand all over it and compact the soil. I'm not saying you shouldn't. If you want to stand all over your own beds, absolutely fine with that, no problem whatsoever. Your plot, your rules. This is just how I do it. So each one of these beds has been treated the same, except for perhaps this end one. It's a very wide bed. It's impossible to work from the sides. Again, because it's a borrowed plot, I've got to just go with the flow. It's got field beans in at the moment. It's going to go to potatoes, no dig potatoes this year. I know I'm veering off a little bit onto green manures, but this will be chopped and dropped in the springtime just before I plant out the potatoes. We'll see how those do. So just in summary, the low compaction means crops can be planted closer together. Planting out is easy because soil is very friable. Soil dwelling creatures find it easier to move around in the soil, and nature tends to choose my bed over all my neighbours. Why I say that is the local badgers and foxes always seem to dig in my bed after the worms, which are much more prolific. A little bit of a problem, but you know what, that's fine by me. Anyway, I'm back with the cabbages to the end of the video. Hopefully you've got a good idea of what I'm on about. The gains of not treading on the beds. Up to you. You can do it if you want to. You can throw eggs at the screen and tell me I'm talking absolute rubbish. It's just my way of doing things. You've got yours. It's just another consideration you might want to think about for yourselves, and it might suit someone somewhere. It's a lot less work. So I'm just up here tidying my strawberries, and I start notice bindweed trailing through it, and I've managed to get out quite a bit that was just starting to root down. And to show you how sneaky it is, you see this, I don't know if you can see it waving around there, but this has travelled beneath my apple trees from right over here. He's got a biometre problem over here. He's given up now, but that's how sneaky biometre is. Massive let off for me. Yep, a very good job. I checked. Always worth being on your guard. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye bye.